Okay, welcome guys. Good morning. In this video, I'm going to start out with a couple just stocks that are in play right now and point out a couple things I'm seeing, and then we'll look at the stock charts, the indices, and figure out where things are potentially going in the future. So start out here with NIO. NIO basically was, I noticed it was jumping this morning, so I took a look at it, and basically here's the trend line that I had marked out. On NIO, you've got a couple trend lines. One, you've got this major trend line down here. NIO has pretty much gone parabolic. So you got this primary trend line right down here, and then you have this secondary trend line that it created right here. And then tightening it even closer, you've got this little trend line right here. So I was looking for a break of this, and we've got it. But here's the couple things I want you to notice. The first hour of the day, you got this big doji. See that big reversal doji right there? And then the second candle that you got on that doji was a confirmation candle, which is typically means there's more downside to come. Also, what I was watching for is this trend line. A minute before the hour was closing, this trend line or this candle was right here at support. So it had already broken all the way down, and they bounced it all the way back up, and it looked like they were about to close it right at support, and then it rolled over and closed the hour just below support. So that's a failure as of right now. So to me, I think that means we're gonna head down to this trend line down here around 42, 43, depending on when we actually get there. On the very short time frame, you can see we also had negative divergence right there. So the gap up today where it was ripping higher was a divergent high. Divergent highs have a high probability of failure. They don't have to fail, but there's a higher probability. So then you look for trend line breaks, and that is usually your signal. So this has all the signs of lower prices, at least in the short term. We have a reversal doji with a confirmation candle. We have negative divergence. We have trend line breaking support. That's what I see. Next up, we got BABA. BABA had a breakdown, impulsive breakdown today. So you can see it was kind of just consolidating in this area, and it looks like now we get a breakdown right here. So to me, that says BABA is going to continue down to this area. I was trying to mark out a clean trend line, but I don't have the cleanest. So I'm going to call it a zone. Basically we can mark it out down to about 247 down to 241.20. Next up, I put a post out this morning about an hour ago on DraftKings, and I noticed that it was opening at a divergent high, and so it had negative divergence on the hourly chart, and it was opening higher. So that looked like a good short to me. I took that short, and here's what it's done so far. So you can see this is what I was thinking was going to happen. So let me kind of point out what I see bigger picture on this thing. I think there's possibility of substantial more downside. So on this one, it looks like we're starting to create what looks like a flag or a rising wedge pattern. So we opened way up here, creating that divergent high. You can see the hourly chart, how it was opening on lesser momentum. High probability of failure. So as I saw that start to fail, I got short, and it has obviously broken down from the high. Now down here, it's a 5.5, almost 6% drop. And so that's what I see on the hourly chart. Now, if you look at the daily, you can see what we have kind of going on, which is the potential for a big bear flag. So here's your initial move down right there, and then here's your flagging action, and that's what it is. I mean, this flag could get foiled, but as of right now, it is a bear flag. And now you look for the breakdown or the continuation move, and I think that probably gets us to about right there, 25, about 25.11. Obviously, I'd want to step in a little bit early, but I think that's how this is setting up. So if it continues to break down, then and breaks out of this flag, then I think that's what's in the cards. I don't see any signs of a trend reversal. I don't see any signs that the momentum is going to start moving higher. This just looks like a flag to me. So I think we'll probably move lower. I'm going to probably, I'll be trading it that way. Now, if it breaks If it breaks to the upside and starts to break out here and you get a daily close up in this area, you can always stop out. But otherwise, I think it's a move down to 25. Okay, so Zoom also looks like it's going to break its trend line support. Hasn't broken yet, but you can see this trend line right here is the kind of the support trend line. Lots of reactions. We broke it briefly, but it recovered it. However, we're right back down at it again. So I'm watching for it. Typically, when you see it, this was a bear trap down here. When it came down and then recovered, that's a bear trap. So you'd expect to see, short covering and a move higher. If it's not showing up and we're back down at support, that's pretty weak price action for expecting to see a bear trap. So what I'm watching for is a break of this trend line. If it breaks and we get a daily close below, then that is a sell signal, and that gets us down to most likely about 325 on Zoom. Negative divergence are still intact right here. Nothing's changed. There's no bullish divergence. Now, if we sell off soon, maybe we do something like this and sell off down to 325 and put in a bullish divergence, down here. That's possible, but hasn't shown up yet. The oil stocks, XOM, I don't see anything. I still think XOM is probably going to come back and tag the bottom of this area, 3370. We could even come all the way down and put in a new divergent low. If it does that, that's an area I'll be adding to the trade. That's great. But as of right now, we're getting a little bit of a pullback. I still think 41 is in the cards for this thing. I don't see any reason technically why that's not the case. Momentum is to the upside, as you can see on PPO and the RSI, and price is to the upside. So a little pullback on our way to 41. But again, if you make a new divergent low and it happens soon, then we'll still keep the bullish momentum right here. And so that's something to watch for. Tesla, I went ahead and covered my Tesla short today. I did so because it's going nowhere. I think I lost 1% on the trade. It was not a lot of money. And the thing's going nowhere, so I'm just going to wait for a little bit more. I'm going to wait for the chart to firm up a little bit more. You can see it's just gone sideways. There's no real sell signals, and so I'm just going to wait for another sign. And here we're at support right here, and you can see it's dipping below and they're buying it up. So I suspect this candle will close green above support, and they're just kind of holding that area. So I figured I'd cover a short when we're at support. That made sense. Okay, let's look at the S&P 500. This purple box is this big sideways trading zone. We're holding above it as of right now. So we popped above it, came back, tagged it as support, tested it again. We're still above it. So bullish while we're above it is really as simple as it can be. I don't see any negative divergences on the hourly chart here. Let's look at the daily. If we turn down soon, there will be negative divergence there was negative divergence here in the daily right there. You can see we made about it's a slightly higher high, so I wouldn't say it's actually negative divergence. If we turn down soon, we'll possibly have that. But again, bullish while we're above this range. To me, if it wants to go higher, I think it's going to run up to this trend line, and which is right. If I can grab that, I think it's going up to this 375, 376 area. Possibly up to 380, depending on when we get there. That might be, again, another major top, or the major top of this entire kind of big sideways chop zone action. So, yeah, that's what I see on that one. Qs, I cleaned up my chart a little bit. It was getting out of control. So here's what I've got. Resistance right there at 291.80. Support, near-term support, 287.60. We're just sideways. You can see, really, we've just been stuck in this sideways range for a while. So for a couple days. Break below should bring us down to 280.50 or 280.60 roughly. a break above, and if we break above, we're probably heading up to most likely all-time highs, I would think. If we break above and we get a next move, yeah, we've got these peaks right here, some resistance up around 298.50. So we'll just mark that out. It's really about here, 298, 297.60. We'll just call it there. Break above that and a definitive close, look for an impulsive break above it, then most likely we're going to go on to break the all-time highs and make a run at this big green line all the way up here. If I go to the weekly here, you can see that. And yeah, I'd have to extend this out, but it would be a move up to 322 or so. I mean, there's nothing in between there. So a breakout and we're, could move higher, which is another 8 to 10% higher from here. So I don't know which way it's going to go short term. Sorry, my chart is playing games with me. My short term view, I don't know. So I'm just going to look for a directional move and then try to make a decision. Gold, you can see just running it right up to resistance. This is the trend line that it's been walking down the entire time. So you can see reaction all along the way. We broke to the upside, creating that bull trap, and then it definitively broke down, and we're right back here at resistance. I'm still looking for a move down. The 200-day moving average is right around 1,800, and my level is about 1,790, 1,800. So it's a range. I'm not saying we're going to hit 1,790. But maybe 1810, they might step in a little early, but I think just down around that area is probably the final down move in gold. And then we're going to start to look for bullish setups on these gold miners. That's all I got right now. I don't see anything else too interesting. So if you see something that's interesting, leave it in the comment below. Leave me a thumbs up. Take my trading course. I will leave that in the description below. It's $100 basically. And I think it'll give you some good tools to help you analyze the charts and make better trading decisions. I think for $100, you can't go wrong. You're going to get your money's worth, at least for $100. Okay, guys, catch you on the next one. Bye.